Hi class, today we're going over chapter 2, lesson 6, families of function. There are two examples in front of us here. If you guys can take a pause, write it down and see if you can answer yourself and come back in a few minutes. Now that you guys have attempted yourself, hopefully you understand the key difference here. Notice here that in front of the x there's a 1, but in front of the x over here there is a 2. In that case, you need to understand that we would be applying this one here. So this means that step 1, you're going to be labeling, which is here, B is -4, and lastly C would be 0. Step 2, you would go ahead and find the vertex, which is right here, and then you plug in using a table the x and y chart, t-chart here, and then lastly move to the very bottom and you'll have your graph there. This I already taught you guys in chapter 2.5. Now on this right hand side it's a little bit different. We'll be applying this one here. And why is that? So notice that the parent function of this equation here is absolute value of x. That means that absolute value of x is up 1, right 1 starting from the origin, and you do up 1, right 1, and you do that on both sides. Absolute value is always a V shape. Okay. From here, you would do the shifts. So these all here explain to you what the shift's going to be by looking at the h and the k. All right, so let's take a look. Leave the negatives alone, so I always highlight that. Okay, leave the highlight alone, leave the highlight alone, and now what are we looking for? H is going to be the 3, there we are, and k is going to be this outside entire number there, which is going to be the 2. So let's take a look. H inside means that 3, think opposite. You think it's going to be moving to the left 3 times, but really you think the opposite is going to go to the right 3 times. So you have, now you have 1, 2, 3, okay? Now this outside is a k, that means it's the vertical shift, it's going to go up 2. That means when you go up to 1, 2, there you are. That's your vertex. And from there, you do same slope, which is the 1 right there. The slope is 1, so you go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, and same as the other way as well, like that. And now that is your new equation here. So this one here is y equals to x only. That's the parent function. And down here would be x. We have x minus 3, and then we have the plus 2. Don't forget your y equals 2 as well. Okay, taking a look at this. How about you guys pause the video one more time and see if you guys can understand this. Now that you're ready, go ahead and come back, okay? All right, so looking at this here, once again, you always begin at the parent function, and then from there we shift it. And you know that because in front of the x is a 1, which is your m. All right, so inside here, inside the absolute value, it tells you, is it a horizontal shift and which way it goes. So you think it's positive there, you think it's going to the right, but really it's going to your left. This outside number here is positive 1, so once again, it's going up vertically, so going up 1 unit. This A out here, if you guys take a look, A will tell you if it's going to be wide or narrow. So let's take a look here real quick at our notes. This is page 99, and notice here that this A, if it's negative, don't forget that it will be flipping reciprocal. And then if it's positive A, it will be opening upward like normal, like a V, just like this. Okay, and what does this mean? So here, notice that our A was equals to 2. So right here, it's going to be matching the stretching, which means the graph will look narrow. And if it's a negative, it will be opening downward, just like this here. So refer back to this class often, and it's on page 99 to better understand this. Okay, so here we are. What is our vertex? We have here the negative. We need to highlight that. So be careful. So here we need a negative right here, and we also need a negative as here as well. So you need to change it up a little bit. So you have x minus. What are you going to have in the inside to keep it the same? Absolute value the same, and you need to write a -3 inside, because negative times a negative gives us a +3 is what you want. And rewrite everything else down. So here we know that k is entirely 1. That's easy. Here, leave the negatives alone. The h is going to be the -3. And wouldn't it make sense that if you're going to the left, it will be a negative sign right here. And then since you're going up, it's going to be a positive 1 right there. And again, you always begin in the center. So we shift to the left 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and then we need to go up 1 right there. That is our V all together. And don't forget the axis of symmetry, which is where your V is going to be. So once again, A is going to be 2. Because it's negative, don't forget it's going to reflect. So in other words, it's going to flip, meaning opening downwards just like this. For the 2, that's considered, I guess you can say it's a slope. So slope is 2, which is now rise over run. So we're not going up 1, down 1 anymore, class. We're going to be going up 2, right 1. So here, I'm sorry, down 2. So down 2, right 1. Down 2, right 1. So it's going down just like this. And same idea with the other side as well. And notice here, it should be going more narrow. So it's more narrow than normal, because normal is when A equals to 1. That's normal. But in this case, it's narrow, and A equals to the 2. So hopefully you guys got that correct. Here's some extra notes for you guys to look into. So once again, like I stated, when it's in the inside, just like this, it's going to be a horizontal shift. When the numbers are outside the absolute value, it's going to be a vertical shift. And combined means it's both a horizontal and a vertical shift, which is just what I went over on number 3. This can be found on page 99, class. So once again, if it's negative right there, in the outside, in front of the absolute value, it's going to reflect, meaning flip. And then here, take a look at your numbers. So if its numbers from between A is greater than 0, then it's going to be like 0.2, but it's less than 1. So you can do like 0.5, it can be 0.2, whatever it is there. And it would shrink, meaning the graph will look wide. Wide meaning like this, okay? And then narrow, meaning really skinny, going thinner and thinner, more narrow, so stretching. And normal, like I said earlier, is just between narrow and wide. And once again, combined transformation is all of them together with the A as well. Thank you very much. That wraps up for 2.6 today.